Anybody who wants clippers overtake us? Here comes one now.
Sure, we've got Royal Festival Hall. That's the last remaining building from the Festival of Britain in 1951.
Wow.
The acoustics in that concert hall are so effective you can't even hear the sound of the trains running alongside.
This is much more relaxing than a clipper, isn't it? Much less noisy too. The clippers are quite loud. This is powerful, aren't they? It's quite far past the shard. This is not raining, I'm glad. Today's actually turned out not too bad in the end.
As the Ladies' Bridge, because it was built by the Women's Land Army during the Second World War. The ladies built the longest bridge in central London. It's just under a quarter of a mile. It's also one of the only bridges in central London to have been built on time and on budget. So well done to the girls. To the right-hand side, there's a large concrete building. That's the National Theatre. It was voted the ugliest building in London for over 10 years. That was until somebody finally built an uglier building downriver in Woolwich, which is actually a Tesco. All of this area on our right-hand side is the South Bank Centre. They have over 5,000 indoor and outdoor performances every year. Lots of pubs and restaurants. They have the South Bank Book Market under the bridge, and they have some excellent street food markets as well. To the left-hand side is a white ship with a yellow funnel. That's HQS Wellington. She escorted merchant ships during the Second World War, and in 1948 she was moved to Victoria Embankment to become the livery hall for the Honourable Company of Master Mariners. She was basically a drinking club for retired sea captains. Behind the Wellington there's a stone archway, and there are two silver dragons. There's one on either side of the road. That's Temple Stairs Arch, the western boundary for the City of London, where we're about to enter, and the City of Westminster, we're about to leave. The City of London is one of the smallest capital cities in the world. It's only 1 square mile. You'll find silver dragons guarding every major entrance to the City of London. They've been placed there to protect it from all evil. I'm not too sure they work. To the right-hand side there's a red brick building. This is Stamford Wharf. It's locally known as the Oxo Tower. That building was a cold store for the Oxo Company. When they had it designed, it was illegal to advertise along the river unless your company worked with boats. Because Oxo makes stock cubes, they have nothing to do with boats, they were taken to court. They argued that it was merely a coincidence, and the windows on their tower spelled their company name, Oxo. Surprisingly, the judge agreed with them. They have had over 90 years of free advertising ever since. I think they got away with a technicality. Something about gravy boats. Ahead of the boat we have the Blackfriars group of bridges. Blackfriars Road Bridge was built at the request of Queen Victoria to commemorate a Dominican monastery that stood over on the left. The monks at that monastery wore black habits. That's where we get the name Black Friars. The second bridge, the grey one, is Blackfriars Railway Bridge. It was built to replace the old London to Chatham and Dover Railway. That was taken away, and the red columns on either side are all that remains. If they took the red columns away, it would undermine the foundations of the other two bridges. Through this bridge off to the left, we have the magnificent dome of St Paul's Cathedral. St Paul's was designed by Sir Christopher Wren. It stands 365 feet high. It has the second largest unsupported cathedral dome in the world. The largest is on St Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Christopher Wren himself is buried in the tomb at St Paul's alongside the Iron Duke, Duke of Wellington, and Admiral Longside Power Station. That was designed by Giles Gilbert Scott. It closed due to the escalating price of oil. It's now home to the Tate Modern, the largest collection of modern art in the world. We're about to pass through the Millennium Bridge. It's locally known as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. It was opened by our late Queen in the Millennium year, but it was closed by the police because it wobbled quite violently. They had to close this bridge for 2 years while they spent millions of pounds demobilising it just to make it safe. So on the right hand side there's a white building of a thatched roof. That's a replica of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. It was the idea of Sam Wanamaker, an American film producer and director. You can see Shakespearean plays performed over there in period dress and costume, only £5. And that's excellent value for live entertainment here in London. Ahead of us on the left there's a building with 4 round columns. That's Vintners Place. The Honourable Company of Vintners have the undesirable job of testing all the beers, wines and spirits that are brought into this country. There's a 10-year waiting list to join them. I only know that because I've been waiting 5 or about halfway there. We're about to pass through Southwark Bridge, the narrowest and least used road bridge to cross the Thames in central London. The approach roads are so narrow and they are so poorly signed, not many Londoners know this bridge is here. If you do see anybody up there today, they're more than likely lost. Now over on the right hand side, we've got a lovely riverside pub called the Anchor. There's been an Anchor Tavern at Bankside since 1615. It's even said that William Shakespeare had a changing room at the Anchor when he was performing at the nearby Rose and Globe Playhouse Theatres. We're just passing through Cannon Street Railway Bridge, the second oldest, but the ugliest railway bridge to cross the Thames in central London. It opened in 1866. To the right hand side we've got a wooden sailing ship between the buildings. That's a working replica of Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind. Francis Drake circumnavigated the globe on the original. He stole so much gold from the Spanish that they called him El Draco, the dragon. When he came back to England, he gave the gold to Queen Elizabeth I. He paid off our national debt. Only we had someone like him today. That replica has actually been around the world twice. We're about to pass through London Bridge. This is the 5th bridge to span the river on this site. The first one was a wooden bridge built by the Romans in around 43 AD. This bridge was opened by our late Queen in 1973. It replaced the last bridge that was found to be falling down. That bridge was taken down stone by stone. The stones were numbered. They were sold to an American company for £2 million. The old bridge now spans the man-made Lake Havasu in the Arizona desert. To the left-hand side, we've got a sandy-coloured building with golden fish for weather vanes. That's the old Billingsgate Fish Market. There was a fish market on that site for over 900 years. It's now moved to larger premises downriver in the Docklands area, where it's still famous for its fresh fish and the foul language from its porters. A young man called Maurice Micklewhite started his career there. He later went on to become the famous Cockney actor Michael Caine. A lot of people say that Billingsgate is where he learned how to swear properly. Not many people know that. To the right-hand side we have HMS Belfast. She was built in the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, the same shipyard as the ill-fated Titanic. The Belfast saw action during the Second World War. She last fired her guns in anger during the Korean campaign. She is now part of the Imperial War Museum. You can explore 9 decks of the Belfast from the engine rooms all the way up to the Captain's Bridge. That makes an excellent day out if you like naval or maritime history. To the left-hand side we have the Tower of London. The square keep with the 4 turrets is the White Tower. It was built for William the Conqueror. It was completed in 1098. Over the last 900 years, the tower has been a royal palace, the Royal Mint, an armoury, observatory, a menagerie, place of execution, and home to the crown jewels. Traitors were tried at Westminster Hall, where we started. They were brought down river in a small boat. They were taken into the tower to be imprisoned or executed. Contrary to popular belief, less than 10 people were executed inside the Tower of London. The majority of the executions took place outside of the tower, up on Tower Hill. The bridge ahead of the boat is Tower Bridge. It was designed by Horace Jones and John Wolfe Barry. It was completed in 1894. The centre span of Tower Bridge opens like a drawbridge to allow large shipping into the upper Pool of London. The 2 centre bascules weigh 1,100 tonnes each. They are so well balanced they could be opened with just 1 pint of water in only 90 seconds. Nowadays the bridge is electric and it's a working museum. You take the lift to the top of the North Tower, cross the top walkways and explore the Victorian engine rooms on the southern side. As we pass through Tower Bridge, we leave the City of London, the 1 square mile. We enter the Greater London area of 600 square miles. This is also where we make our next stop at Butler's Wharf here. So if you are travelling to Greenwich, then remain on board the boat because we go to Greenwich next. So if you're going to Greenwich, you stay with us. If you're not going to Greenwich, then you leave the boat here. Now we've got boats heading back upriver on a regular basis. If you'd like to take the last boat back, we're back at the top of the pier no later than 5:30. Now I did say at the start, we're not official tour guides on these boats, we're only the crew of the boat. We're here to take you along the river safely, but we like to point out places of interest to try and make the trip a little bit more interesting. We're not paid to provide commentaries on the boat, but if we don't talk to you, well nobody does, and you're left with a mystery cruise travelling along the river. If anybody has enjoyed my few words and would like to show any appreciation for my efforts, you can do so down at the exit. because we have a very old tradition. At the exit gate you'll find me holding the captain's champagne bucket. Anything that's thrown into his shiny tip bucket is very gratefully received. And it's an old tradition, it dates back many years, but we understand traditions have to change at the times because lots of people don't carry any cash. So for your convenience, you can also tip using your phone by scanning the lovely QR code we have at the exit. All that leaves me to say, folks, is thanks for travelling with us. Thanks for listening to me. And if you're leaving us here, have a lovely day at the Tower. Thank you very much, folks. Greenwich Pier to let people off and let people on. Then we turn the boat, travel back up to Tower and up to Westminster after that. Ahead of us on the left, we've got a very lovely building called Oliver's Wharf. Oliver's Wharf was built in 1870 for a very wealthy tea merchant called George Oliver. In 1972, that was the first warehouse in Wapping to be converted into luxury riverside apartments. The famous pop singer, Cher, she had the penthouse at Oliver's Wharf, but she moved because she didn't like all of the passenger boats going past, telling people where she lived. So she moved to Chelsea Harbour, block 2, flat number 4. But you didn't hear that from me. The area on the left, Wapping, used to be an execution site for pirates. When London was a busy shipping port, it was taking up to 2 weeks for ships to enter the pool of London to unload their cargo. By the time they'd done so, 2/3 of their cargo was being stolen by pirates. In today's money, is equivalent to £52 million a year that was going missing. 2 gentlemen called John Harrier and Patrick Calhoun, they teamed up, they formed the Marine Police Force. They're based on the left at Wapping. They are the oldest uniformed police force in the world. They predate the Bow Street Runners by 15 years. Their job was to capture pirates who were executed at Wapping by the grace of Wapping. They would bring the pirates down to the foreshore at low tide. They would chain them to the riverbed and allow free tides to pass over the pirates' heads. The pirates were told that if they were still alive after free tides, they would be set free as an act of God. I tell you now, after 36 hours of water over your head, it really would have been an act of God to survive that. And nobody ever did. It was very effective. We've got lots of buildings in this area with the word wharf on top. Lots of people ask us, what does the word wharf actually mean? Well, truthfully, nobody really knows, but I know a couple of good suggestions. I'll give you 2 of them and you can decide which one you think is best. Some people say WARF is an acronym. They say WHARF stands for Warehouse at Riverfront, which is quite fair. Other people say it comes from the Dutch word verf, which loosely translates to a place where they build and repair ships. There were many shipbuilding yards in this area. That makes a lot of sense as well. But most of our working wharves and warehouses have all been closed. They've been turned into luxury riverside apartments. Ahead of us on the left is a lovely white pub with a tree next to it. That pub is the Prospect of Whitby. It's one of our oldest riverside pubs. There's been a pub on that site since 1520. When it first opened, King Henry VIII was the King of England. That pub used to be called the Devil's Tavern. It was a favourite hangout for the Royal Navy press gangs. The Navy would go to that pub and they would put up signs promising cheap beer to lure in watermen and sailors such as myself. You would go and have a couple of pints in there, and on the way out of the door, you would be hit over the back of the head with a lump of wood or a sailing. You would wake up a day or 2 later on a ship at sea. you had been press ganged into the Royal Navy. It was as simple as that in those days. Not many people wanted to join the Royal Navy because the life expectancy for an adult sailor was only 2 years. You could die from scurvy or something far, far worse. At the time of the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, over 75% of the sailors in the Royal Navy had all been press ganged. Now I'll just take a few moments to tell you a little bit about the river we're travelling on. The River Thames is the second longest river in the UK. The longest is the River Severn. The Thames is 215 miles long. 67 miles of that is the tidal section that we are travelling on today. The tidal Thames runs from Southend-on-Sea ahead of us, all the way upriver to Teddington, where we have our first of 44 locks. On the other side of Teddington Lock, we have 148 miles of non-tidal river, and that steps its way up lock by lock, all the way up to the source of the river, which is in Peckham, inside of the Cester, in the Cotswolds. We have 2 tides a day here in London. We have 5 hours of an incoming tide called the flood. Then we have 7 hours of an outgoing tide called the ebb. The rise and fall is about 7.5 metres, anything up to 30 feet. The river water may look quite dirty, but scientists tell us that the quality of the water wouldn't have looked much different when the Romans first arrived in around 43 AD. That's because the Thames is a mud-based river with a fast-flowing tide. It always churns up the mud, and that's what gives it this peculiar appearance. Believe it or not, the Thames is one of the cleanest rivers that pass through a major city anywhere in the world. There are over 128 different species of fish, including salmon, trout and sea bass. More than 90 species of birds. We've got short-snouted seahorses and a seal colony down in the estuary of over 3,600 seals as well. Considering the river was declared biologically dead in the 1960s, that's quite an incredible thing. For the next part of the journey, we've got lots of luxury riverside apartments. So we'll leave you at a bit of peace. When we get further down the river towards Greenwich, I'll point out some places of interest in Greenwich. So thank you very much for your kind attention so far. That will give it a little bit closer to Greenwich. Let people off, then we travel back up to Tower and Westminster. So if you'd like to go back, you can just stay on board, we'll take you back. Or if you'd like to step ashore, you're more than welcome to, and there won't be any more boats after us. If you want to explore Greenwich, you can still go back to London using the train. Greenwich Station isn't too far from the pier. It takes 16 minutes to London Bridge. You can also continue on to Waterloo and other stations as well. Ahead of us on the right we have the 3-masted tea clipper, the Cutty Sark. She was built in Dumbarton in Scotland in 1869. She started her life bringing tea back to London from China. She's now a museum ship. She's been raised up so you can walk beneath the key of the ship. Behind the Cutty Sark, up on the hill, there's a castle-like building with a green dome. That's the Royal Observatory, Flamsteed House. The observatory was commissioned by King Charles II, and it was built by Christopher Wren. It's home to the first astronomer royal, John Flamsteed. It's up there you'll find the historic prime meridian. You put 1 foot in the east of the world, 1 foot in the west of the world, and it doesn't even bring a tear to your eye. The large white buildings are the old Royal Naval College. They were designed by Christopher Wren as a hospital for wounded sailors. When the hospital closed, it became a college for the Royal Navy. It's now home to the Greenwich University. Parts of those buildings are open to the public, including the chapel, very beautiful, it's free to visit, and the Painted Hall. The Painted Hall has the largest painted ceiling in Europe. It's the Sistine Chapel of the UK. The white building in the centre is the Queen's House. That was designed by Inigo Jones for Queen Anne of Denmark. It was the first classical building in England. The Queen's House and the National Maritime Museum, which is next door, they are both free to visit, and they're home to a world-renowned art collection. Greenwich is also a great place for a drink or something to eat. Lots of lovely pubs, restaurants and shops. Behind the Cutty Side, you've got the Gypsy Waffle Hut. There's a very lovely pub with a large beer garden. Further behind that is Greenwich Market, with its glass roof, antiques and crafts, and lovely street food. And then last but not least, if you walk along the river past Naval College, you've got some lovely riverside pubs. On the left, we've got the Trafalgar Tavern on the lights. It's a very beautiful pub, and it's famous for its white-baited fish. Next door to the Trafalgar is my favourite pub in Greenwich, that's the Yacht. Now, I quite like the Yacht to do a rather lovely lunch. I quite like the fish. And it's owned by Green King, so it's not too expensive either. If you're leaving us in Greenwich,